Gacha games. There's been a lot of them released this year and in the past year since the pandemic at least. Oh, similarly, if you've been following along with this channel, you know I've evaluated and played a couple of different ones such as Nikke alongside Counterside, Arknights Fusion. I do intend to play Honkai Impact. Genshin Impact used to be another focus of this channel alongside Blue Archive and Arknights. And considering we're on the topic, let's briefly discuss Arknights. I originally played it with multiple accounts, I settled on one, and then I whaled a little bit and ultimately dropped the game. At least, kind of. I had the monthly card, so I still logged on just to collect the benefits of that, but ultimately I have not been playing any of the events, I have not been playing any of the stages. I haven't even been farming, because of the previously mentioned issues in that there's no repeatable option to farm. It just made it boring because I just had to continuously come back and check off on the list, hey, farm again, hey, farm again, hey, farm again. Because even though auto deploy is there, I wish it still had a sweep function. But regardless of that fact, I decided recently to take a break from Arknights and then come back to it either under a fresh account or under my main account, to delve back into the game itself and see if I can have a much better experience and a much better time overall than I previously did. And with that being said, playing it as a much more casual experience, mind you, my sanity is never fully depleted, but it's also capped quite a lot of times too. But I've been playing it on the same level of casualness that I have usually played with Blue Archive. Now keep in mind, I play both these games for very different reasons. But playing Arknights in a much more casual setting and not necessarily caring about the stage of my account or the characters that I have or who's being built or what's being done, and ignoring stuff like Annihilation or the harder event stages, has made me to a degree enjoy the game a bit better. Mind you, my issues that I previously had do still remain. This isn't going to be me delving into a rant video, but hey, look, watch previous rant videos if you haven't already. I still take issue with Arknights. If you're noticing the background footage right now, it's probably not Arknights, it's Genshin Impact because it has a card game, and look, I'm not gonna lie, I love that card game. But given that we're nearing the end of the year, I want to try to get back into a bunch of different gacha games I've previously played and see where they all stand as of right now. Give my opinions and outlook on their future, and we're also going to be doing this in the Discord server. Join if you haven't already, will be linked in the description down below. But overall, I do enjoy Arknights. I do like the character design and aesthetic. If I did still or was still required to pick a story that I can get more attached to or a story that I like better, I would still pick Blue Archive and Genshin over Arknights, but I can understand why people do enjoy the story itself. I can understand why people like the designs and characters better. And while I don't vehemently dislike any of the gacha games I've mentioned previously, I can understand why some people might. I do think it's a bit unfair to disregard any of the three for different reasons, and especially arbitrary reasons like the character designs or like the situation they put characters in. I think ultimately each of these are good games, and I do want to try out Neural Cloud, I do want to try out Tower of Fantasy again, I do want to try out these other games that I previously dropped and want to see where they're at. Getting into the story of Arknights involved reading a lot of the characters' backstories, and so I went through my character roster. I looked at everybody who I previously had, everybody who I had built up and liked the voice lines of, whether that be for the lobby menu or just the general lines they said even in battle. And I decided to see and pick a couple individuals who I actually quite liked, whether that be because the artist was great or just from the general gameplay aesthetic, and read their entire backstory. And overall, it's nice. Nothing too groundbreaking or nothing really that made me feel for the characters themselves, but it's a nice addition, I suppose. I'm going to try from the very beginning to get back into the story, or at least the main storyline of Arknights itself, and give it another shot and see if I can find some enjoyment in it. If I can, I'll write down notes along as I go of things I took issue with, or maybe things I just didn't like. But I'm going to give that a whole dedicated video overall because I do think it's worthy of a dedicated video regardless because it's the story of the game itself. But that's it on Arknights. That's going to be the brief bit I have on that game. In regards to Blue Archive, I got Iroha, I got Michiru, I even got Miyu, and I absolutely adore all of them. Michiru's live 2D is unexpectedly very, very cute. Miyu's live 2D, well, let's be honest here, there's a couple things that are amazing, and the relationship storyline's actually really, really fun. All of them have wonderful relationship storylines, so I will say that, yeah, Blue Archive hasn't dropped the ball, in my opinion. Still great, the character designs are amazing. I haven't necessarily used any one of them in combat, but I was much more excited and much more interested in the fact that Azuna was brought back into the story, and look, I'm not gonna lie, she's my favorite fox. I will always play Blue Archive so long as Azuna is in the game. But Michiru might be coming in a close second, or maybe it's Miyu, I don't know. I will give you a finalized opinion, and maybe there will be a Michiru or Miyu in a nutshell video soon, who knows? Overall though, I don't participate in the much more meta-heavy games or sections of the game, whether that be Total Assault or PvP, I don't particularly care. I haven't even done the joint drill or whatever. Yeah, that thing that's also added in and has been there for a couple months. I have not touched it. I quite legitimately don't know what the hell it does. So that should give you an honest opinion, or at least a standpoint from where I'm at in the game. I play Total Assault when I feel like it. I play PvP. I'm at like 2000. I just kind of settled there ages ago and never did anything else. My account is progressing at sporadic rates. I'll either invest time or I'll get a character, get them up to 65 and be like, I'm done. So, I don't play the game very meta heavily, and I'm not super duper invested into the units, but I will be going through and possibly starting a new account to make a sort of beginner's introductory guide for a lot of the individuals who may start Blue Archive. So if you're interested in that, leave a like on the video down below. Hey, go to the comment section too. And finally, let's talk about Genshin Impact, because it recently had a pretty big update. You had the Wanderer being introduced, you had the card game, which is in the background being introduced, and as you can see, I like it. I think the card game is a fine introduction to the game. Overall, I think while it doesn't necessarily alleviate a lot of the problems with resin, it gives you something else to do. And since you can challenge other individuals, whether that be players, whether that be other units you have or units you know, I think it's great. I think they'll, and hope they will add more as time goes on. But I do absolutely enjoy it thus far. It's fun, it's a nice distraction while your resin is refilling. It has interesting rewards, it gives you primo gems. And the cards themselves have pretty wonderful looks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty great. So overall, I'm saying that it's not necessarily game changing or game altering to such a vast degree that it make it individuals to play it again. I do think it's a very fine addition to the game. In fact, I want to start an EU and an Asia server account just to play with other people. Because ultimately, I do think it's fun. I do think it's very unique. I do think it's a worthwhile introduction. It didn't drop the ball because, in my opinion, it's a solid foundation that they can add more to as they go on. And since you have this, you have the teapot, you have the actual story quests and the character quests and all of those little tidbits of information here and there, I think there's a lot of content in the game as of right now. And I think that if you were to start right now, you have a perfect introduction. You don't have to pull for Wanderer, he's not a must-pull unit, so you can kind of stay relaxed throughout this banner. And that's fine. I tried to get him, I lost to 50-50, whatever. He's cool, but he's not someone I particularly want. I am waiting for Raiden though. And overall, I'd say at the end of December, a lot of the gacha games that I've at least played are looking pretty nice. They're in pretty comfortable, solid positions. I do want to get more into Epic 7. I do want to get more into the other stringent gacha games that I tried, maybe did a one-off on and then left. And then in 2023, I kind of want to settle down on a channel order, on the organizational standpoint for what videos are going out what day. And I want to settle on if I'm going to be live streaming here, on Twitch, or in the Discord server, or whatever the case may be. So hey, if any of that interests you, consider subscribing. For the end of 2022, every gacha game is looking pretty solid, at least the main ones I've seen thus far. I am interested in what Blue Archive is going to do going forward. I am interested in what Arknights is going to do forward. I kind of know Genshin Impact's settled, at least for now, until the next big update, so I don't particularly have to worry about them. But I'm interested in any new features or changes that will be upcoming, or if any new gacha games will be introduced or released. At the end of the day, more competition is always good for any gacha game of any type. And as long as each gacha continues to improve, I will always continue to play them. Arknights, please add a sweep function. Blue Archive. I think we deserve more relationship storylines. Like, look, after relationship rank 6 or maybe 10 at most, you kind of don't get anything at all. And considering a lot of us continue to push like relationship rank 20 for our favorite students, I think we deserve a second thing, maybe more storyline, maybe a second live 2D. Like if an altar gets released for Hoshino, maybe the original variation of Hoshino deserves a bit more to her relationship storyline, or a bit more, or a second live 2D. Because let's be honest here, some live 2Ds have pretty bad images, or maybe just aren't up to par with the other ones. So I think we deserve two. Hey, if a unit was released super early on in the game's lifespan, hey, look, maybe give us 2 variations of the live 2D. Not an altar, but 2 variations of that one unit's live 2D. But hey, that's just my opinion. Leave yours down below. Tell me your favorite gacha game of 2022, and I hope to see you next time. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribing would always be greatly appreciated. And goodbye.